Every day we encounter many people without saying a word to them. Imagine being able to share the gift of joy with them, to bring a smile to their face or give them a spark of inspiration. Without saying a word, you can positively impact their life by simply wearing a humanity. Humanity also offers a unique approach to engage friends in enlightened conversation, all while exhibiting classic style. These shirts have been pre-shrunk to maintain their shape and pigment after washing. You will find this shirt is neither too light nor too heavy for your usual daily activities. Whether you're into casual lounging, active layering, or just want the softest t-shirt against your skin, you'll be pleasantly surprised by this traditional tee. To view our diverse product line, visit our website and click on the Humanity tab. Humanity, the very best in inspirational apparel.
Not cutting, but untying. And so the universe then has no choice. First attribute of the secret place. The secret place is a place of revelation. It makes you free because it awakens you and makes you consciously aware that everything that you thought was holding you is an illusion. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Sunday Empowerment. This is a ministry of Emerge, the movement, where we are empowering people on their journey to spiritual wholeness. You have just tuned into the most powerful place on the planet, because this is where you'll receive instruction, insight, revelation, and teaching that will help you to be able to live your best life and to perform at the highest levels and highest version of yourself. I am so glad that you've chosen to be with us this evening and to take part in this conversation. It is so nice to have you here as we come to the close of another fantastic day. It's been a busy day, but a wonderful and productive day, and I hope that your day has been just as productive. I want to give you something tonight that's going to help you to power yourself through the rest of the week. So thank you for tuning in. I see each and every one of you in the comments. Thank you so much. If all of you that are on here right now, if I can get all 13 of you that are tuned in right now, do me this one favor. If you would please just quickly take 30 seconds and share this broadcast on your page. Everybody, just do it right now, very quickly. When you've done it, just write in the comments, done or shared. That way I'll know that you've done so. But just take a few moments, help me to expand the audience and build this platform out by just simply sharing this broadcast on your page right now. And that way other people will know that we're here. And while you're doing that, if you should happen to think of any persons that you think would benefit greatly from being a part of or listening to the teaching that you're about to receive, just quickly tag them in the comments. You can tag as many people as you want to, because when you tag them, it will alert them to come over to this page and they'll be able to take part in this spiritual conversation. So go ahead and tag as many people as you like. I would love to have them. Tag your friends, your family, your cousin, your auntie, them, all of them, and invite them to be a part of this great conversation. All right, listen, we have been talking about under the heading, our conversation has been headed by the topic of rediscovering your identity. And we are deep into the conversation right about now. We are at, where is this? Let's see. We are at part 11. My goodness, yes. Rediscovering your identity. We're at part 11. I know it's been pretty extensive and very detailed, because I want to take my time and walk you through all of the different parts of what this means. And so we have been talking about rediscovering your identity, because identity is crucial. It is crucial to your being able to live your best life. If you don't know who you are, then somebody's going to tell you who you are, at least who they think you are, and you will find yourself conforming to the ideas, the beliefs, the machinations of other people, and they're choosing for you what your life is supposed to look like. Then you're not really living your authentic self. You are living a version of a person that they have told you to be. Lord have mercy. But when you are rediscovering your identity, that is uncovering, unpacking, unfolding, revealing who you were designed to be, born to be in the mind of God prior to your coming into this three-dimensional earth, then you will begin to now understand just who you authentically are and how powerful you are, how magnificent you are, how brilliant you are, and what you have to offer not only to yourself, but to the entire world that you encounter. And so what we have been walking through here in our conversations is helping you to discover who you are, escaping that those parameters and that bondage of what I've called victim consciousness. Victim consciousness is the idea or the theory that you have to believe in, accept, and embrace that there are all of these exterior forces that you are at the mercy of, that you have absolutely really no control of your life. You are like the puppet being controlled by the marionette who's pulling all of the strings, whether that be God or a devil or a demon or a spirit or your mama or your granddaddy or your cousin or your environment or your culture or your religion. And all of them now have been instrumental in making you into a particular person, and you are just subject to the winds, the doctrines, the blows, the whims, the ebbs and the flows of all of these things. That is victim consciousness. Victim consciousness allows you to play the blame game and say, well, it's not my fault that I'm like this. It's my mama's fault. It's my daddy's fault. My mama didn't love me, or my daddy abandoned me, or I grew up in a bad neighborhood, or I came up in poverty, or I was born black in America, or I was born with this particular deficiency, and so therefore it's not my fault. I can't help myself. And so I start to pray to this man who sits up in the sky, who's somehow occupying a space that I cannot see, and he sits high and looks low, and I have to wait for him to move on its own time to come down and rescue me from the situations and circumstances of my life. And he may not come when I want him, but he will be right on time. And he's a God you can't hurry. You just have to wait. Y'all ain't hearing what I'm saying. And that I'm constantly climbing up the rough side of the mountain, trying to do my best to make it in, because I'm just going to always be sometime up and sometime down, sometime level to the ground, because you know the devil's on my track, trying hard to turn me back. And I've come out the muck, the mire. I'm a worm, and I'm unworthy, and I don't deserve nothing. And it should have been me hanging on the tree. It should have been me that they were killing. I deserve to die. I'm disgusting, but thank goodness that he looked beyond my disgusting, filthy faults, and he saw my need, and he took me in, had mercy on me, and looked past my unworthiness, because you know, I's a filthy worm, I's a worm, I's a wretch undone. Glory to God, have mercy. That's all a part of the victim consciousness, but we have come to understand that does not define who we are, that is a fallacy. It is a lie that has been fed to us, a set of beliefs, a system of beliefs that have served to do nothing but to weaken us, to make us dependent and crippled. It has done nothing more than to put us in a position where we are constantly the beggar, while they are contradicting themselves and telling us that we should be the head and not the tail, but then all they teach us is how to be a tail and not the head. They tell us we should be above and not beneath, then all they taught us was how to be beneath and not to be above. They taught us that we should be the lender and not the borrower, then all they taught us, Lord have mercy, was how to be the borrower. They taught us the victimization. They taught us the blame game. They taught us to be weakened, crippled, and dependent people who just lean in and dependent on Jesus to come and see about us, because you know the battle is not ours, it's the Lord's. I know I'm throwing out a whole lot of religious colloquialisms, and I'm probably making some church folk mad at me in the process, but that's okay. Oh, that's good. I need that. Good coffee. But all of that is a part of victim consciousness. All of that does not define who you really are. I mean, and it really doesn't even make logical sense. It's a contradiction because they tell you at one case that you have the Spirit of God within you and you got power to tread over scorpions, over serpents, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. But on the other hand, they say, I'm running for my life. And I beat the devil that running, and I'm so glad. And the devil's on my track, and the devil did this, and the devil did that, and the devil, and I'm just waiting on God to rescue me and Jesus to come and take me out of it. And oh, Jesus, won't you please come help me? Please, 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 help me, please, help me, please, please, help me, please, help me, please, Lord. I'm sorry, I don't mean to make light of it, but then at the same time, when you stop to really think about it, it just sounds ridiculous, because you've been told you have all of this that's inside of you. You have power, you have the anointing, and yet you're at the mercy of all of these different entities, demons and devils and spirits that are outside of you. And you're also waiting on the God who supposedly has given you all of this power to say, oh, no, I don't want you to use it. I don't want you to use it. No, I just gave it to you for it to be there. I'm going to do all the fighting for you. I don't want you to have to fight. I gave you the power and the ability. Just have it there, just to know that you got it. But I'm going to do all the fighting for you. Huh? That's ridiculous. Every one of you listening to me know that's absolutely ridiculous. No, we have come to understand that our real identity is solidified and fortified in God, that we are God's offspring, according to Acts chapter 17. In him we live and move and have our being, as certain of your poets have said, you are God's offspring. And so that because we are the Lord's offspring, then we are made and we possess the same structural DNA as God. Everything that God is, I am. And we found out that when we want to define what God is, even though there's a whole lot of other colloquial names about him that are descriptive, but at its core, God is a spirit. That's according to St. John chapter 4. God is a spirit. And so if we are the offspring of God, then we are a spirit. And we've learned that spirit has certain essentials. Not essentials, but that there's a certain nature to spirit. That spirit is timeless, that it is boundless, and that it is eternal. And then we also learned that there were some essentials to divinity. That God is not just a spirit, but God is a divine spirit. And there are some essentials to divinity, that if in order for a spirit to be divine, it must possess these essentials, and those four before was that God is omnipresent, that there is no place that God is not. God is everywhere, that God is omnipotent, that God is all power, that is all ability as well as authority emanates from God, has its genesis from God. God is the ultimate supreme power, that God is not only omnipresent and omnipotent, but God is omniscient. That is to say that God knows everything. There is nothing that God does not know, nothing outside of the parameters of the knowledge or the knowing of God. And then finally, that God is omniactive, that God is constantly moving, unfolding, revealing, and that God is constantly in motion or in action. We understood then that because God then is described or defined by those parameters, then those things must apply to us as the offspring of God. That because God is all of those things, that he possesses the nature of spirit, boundless, timeless, and eternal, then we then as spirits being human are boundless and timeless and eternal. And that God being omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, and omniactive, then we as the offspring of God are equally so. And we looked at in our last lesson when Paul writes in his letter and says to the Philippians that we're supposed to think of ourselves in the same way that Jesus thought of himself, as being equal with God. Let this mind be in you that was also in Christ Jesus, who thought it not robbery to see himself as being equal with God. Why are we equal with God? Because God lives, resides, and then experiences itself in us, through us, and as us. That we are the divine image reflection, or the unique individual expression of God in a three-dimensional form. That God is not somehow detached from me. God is not separate from me, but God and I are one. And we learned in our past studies that there is a oneness between me and God, you and God, that just as Jesus was one with God, so are we one with God. So we can say in the same manner as Jesus is purported to have said, that when you see me, you have seen the Father. When you look at me, you are looking at a unique expression of God, a reflection, an image, and a likeness of God. Wow, what a powerful thing. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a part of our identity. That is the solidification and the epitome of who we are. We are a divine spirit that has a consciousness, that is the soul, that is lives in a body. We are a divine spirit that is all that God is, that has a soul, a conscious awareness of itself, that lives in a body. We are not humans having a spiritual experience, but we are a spirit having a human experience. We are spirits being human. Spirits being human. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And so that is who we are. That's just a very quick run through and review of what we've covered so far. And then on Thursday, we spent some time doing some Q&A and doing a review so that you would have an opportunity to ask questions. And boy, did we have some really good questions. I'm so glad that all of you participated in that, and your questions were great. And I hope that we were able to answer them adequately for each and every one of you. Okay, so tonight, we're going to move on to the next phase. It gets deeper. So we have been talking about rediscovering your identity. This is part 11. Tonight, our focus is going to be on the 4 governing laws of divinity. The 4 governing laws of divinity. Well, we talked about the 4 essentials of divinity. That is, those things that essentially make up divinity, that separates spirit from divine spirit, that we are the divine spirit, okay? That animals have spirit, they are just ordinary spirit, but that we are divine spirit. We are God's highest creation in this world or this dimension, this plane of consciousness. But there are also 4 governing laws of divinity. 4 governing laws of divinity. There are 4 governing laws of divinity, and we're going to try and go through each of them. Now, I'm going to tell you up front, because we only have a limited amount of time, there is absolutely no way that I'm going to be able to go into detail, explicit detail of all 4 of them tonight. What I am going to do is I'm going to give you all 4 of them with a very general explanation, and then we will begin our focus on law 1, and then in the next lesson law 2, and in the next lesson law 3, and we'll space them out like that so that you can get a full understanding of what these laws are, how they work, and how to use them to your advantage. Are you understanding what I'm saying? So I want to walk you through in a very slow manner. Now, before I even begin to give you the 4 laws, there is something that I need for you to understand about law. When we talk about the laws that govern, the 4 governing laws of divinity, or when we talk about the laws that govern the universe, and you've heard me talk about that, the laws that govern the universe, or the kingdom of God, spiritual laws, principles, practices, and patterns that we are able to apply and that are universal. I want to make sure that we have a good working understanding or definition of law. I've said before, and it bears repeat tonight, that laws have no personality. And let me say it again. Spiritual universal laws have no personality. They are no respecter of persons. They are not punitive. Let me say again, they are not punitive. They are designed by God to serve all of us, the sons of God. They were designed and put in place throughout the universe or throughout the kingdom to serve us, but they are a law. How we interact with the law determines the outcome. In other words, there are certain mathematical laws that apply. 2 + 2 is always going to be 4. That is the law. Adding, you are always going to have to follow that law, mathematical law. The equation will give you the same absolute result. How you interact with that law determines what your outcome is going to be. If you happen to change one of the variables and make it 2 + 3, then you're going to get a different outcome. There is no problem with the law. It is how you interact with the law. The laws that govern the universe, as well as the 4 governing laws that we will cover tonight, these laws have no personality. They are not out to get you. They are designed for you, but how you choose to interact with them determines what your outcome is going to be. They are going to work. They are at work and in operation at all times. They are impersonal. They are at work and in operation at all times. Also, ignorance of the law is no excuse. In other words, because you are unaware or unconscious of or have not been taught about certain laws does not stop the law from being in effect. And it does not release you from the consequences or the outcomes of the law. Are you understanding what I'm saying? That if you are driving and you've gotten a license here in the United States, it is understood, it's written in every driver's manual across the entire country, that if you are driving down a highway and there is not a posted speed limit, the standard speed limit is 55. Now, you can choose to drive 85 if you want to. Say, well, I didn't see a sign. No one said what the speed limit was, but you are responsible to know what the law is. And so when the blue lights show up behind you and pull you over, you can't plead ignorance and say, I didn't see a sign. No one told me that the speed limit on this road was 55, because they will say, but it is a universal law that is understood that on a highway, even if there is no marked speed limit, that the speed limit there is 55 unless you're on an interstate. On a highway we're talking about. So if you're on a highway, that universal law is that unless it is posted otherwise, the limit is 55. You can't get mad. He's going to be like, well, you got a driver's license, which means that you had to take the test, which means that you were given a manual, which means that you should have known. It's your responsibility to study and know the law. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. So you still going to get this ticket unless, of course, he chooses to have mercy and give you a favor. Okay, never mind. Anyway, yes, and just decides to give you a warning and let you go. Okay, well, the same is true when it comes down to the laws that govern the universe, as well as these 4 governing laws that we're going to talk about. The law is the law is the law is the law. If you happen to break the law, then that does not make the law bad. You have to deal with the consequences of the law that you broke. Are you hearing what I'm saying? My kids just came and asked me a question earlier about, whether you can get in trouble with God if you happen to not do something that God tells you to do, or you feel led of the Spirit to do. And I'm like, no, you don't get in trouble. Because God is inextricably for us. God is for us, in us, through us, and as us. But it does not eradicate us having to deal with the consequences of our choices. All things are lawful for us, but not all things are expedient. So because I can doesn't mean that I should. Woo! Let me say that again. That you can do anything that you desire to do, that you choose to do. You have that option as an autonomous being that has been given choice. All things are lawful. You are divine in nature. So Paul says there is nothing you cannot do. So it's not that there's a prohibition on what you can do. You are not prohibited, but understand that all things are not expedient. Not everything is going to serve you. So make sure that in your choosing to do or not do a thing, that you are willing to fully embrace the outcomes or the consequences of making that particular choice. Make sure that the choice is aligned with what you know, feel, sense, or believe will serve you best. Now, none of us get that right all the time, but when you find out that a particular thing doesn't serve you, a particular choice, a particular action, a thought, or behavior doesn't serve you, what do? You change your thought, your action, and your behavior. I'm not doing that anymore, or I'm going to do this from now on. It's the law. If there is no problem with the law, there is no problem with the 4 governing laws of divinity. What is how it all comes down to how I choose to interact with those laws. They have no personality. They are not against you. And that ignorance of the law is no excuse. So it's important that we study, that we learn. This is why it's important that you have good teachers, mentors in your life, and good study habits individually, because it's your responsibility to know, to learn, to seek, to discover. Seek him while he may be found, to hunger and thirst, and you will be filled. There is the promise that if you hunger and thirst, that if you have a sincere desire to know, then God will always ultimately create opportunities for you to know. Let me say that again, that if you have a hunger and a thirst for righteousness, a right understanding of things, then God will make sure that you have an opportunity to know. He'll provide you with the resources. He'll provide you with mentors, teachers. When the student is ready, then the teacher will appear. Oh my goodness, that's real good right there. That's a very old saying, but it's a very good saying. All right. So we understand law. I want to make sure that everybody understands law and the nature of law. Okay. So we don't get mad at the laws that govern the universe, are these four governing laws of divinity, because we understand that they were essentially designed and put in place by God to serve us. Everything is for us. Nothing is against us. If God be for us, who can be against us? Okay? Everything is for us. Nothing is against us. Nothing happens to us. Everything happens for us. And we talked about earlier this morning about these pre-sent moments that we encounter with every moment of our existence, that we have sent to ourselves to awaken us, to alert us, to help us to evolve and to grow and to develop. And so everything is designed, laced and loaded with information to teach us and to develop us and to push us along the evolutionary path of our journey toward our fulfillment of destiny. Everything, okay? Nothing against us. All right, so let's look at these laws. All right, I'm going to run through all four. I'm going to put them on the screen. If you need to quickly grab some pencil and paper, do that real quick. Or if you need to get a device so that you can type it down, maybe a laptop or your phone or whatever, get that real quick so you can write these laws down. And then again, like I said, we're going to go through them quickly, speak about them generally. And then in our next lesson on Thursday, we will go into detail about the first one and then the next one. And then on Sunday, the second one, and then on Thursday, the third one, and then on Sunday, the fourth one. So we'll do it in that manner so that we can explore and excavate each one of them in great detail. All right. So here are the four laws, four governing laws of divinity. Number one, your outer world of form and experience is a reflection of your inner world of thoughts and feelings. As above, so below, as within, so without. I'm going to leave that on the screen for just a few moments. Your outer world of form and experience, that everything that is happening in your life, everything you are seeing and experiencing, that shows up in your life is a reflection of your inner world of thoughts and feelings, that you are constantly creating the world in which you live in. You are creating the situations, the circumstances, the relationships, the opportunities, the encounters that you have in your life. Every single one of them are a reflection of what is going on inside of you. I want you to get that. Your outer world of form and experience is a reflection of your inner world of thoughts and feelings. As above, so below. As within, so without. And we're going to see when we get into this in more detail how this is tied to the declaration that Christ makes after Peter gets a revelation of who Jesus the Christ is, that thou art the Christ, the anointed, the Son of the living God. And he says to him that thou art Peter, and upon this revelation I will build a collective, the ecclesia, the church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against you. And then he says that I'm going to give you the keys. Listen to what he says. I'm going to give you the keys of the heavens, and whatsoever you bind in heaven is bound in the earth, and whatever you loose in the heavens is loosed in the earth. As above, so below, as within, so without. And again, we'll get into more detail with that in the next lesson as we explore this particular law. I wanted to leave it up long enough for all of you to be able to write it down, that everything you are experiencing in your outer world of form and experience. So if you don't like what you're experiencing, understand, rather than just judging it, look at it, analyze it, because it is reflecting what is going on in your inner world of thoughts and feelings. Your thoughts become things. Your feelings magnetize your thoughts. Let me say that again. Your thoughts become things, and your feelings will magnetize your thoughts. They are the thing that energizes and magnetizes the energy that is released from your thoughts, given form to from your mouth, and begins to draw to you the very thing that you have given your attention to. What you give attention to, you give intention to. So that's law number one. That's law number one. I'm trying to hurry because I'm running out of time. I've got about 10, 11, 12 more minutes. So I got to try and get through all four of them, just speaking very generally. Here is law number two. The greater your awareness of the presence of God within you, the more that presence fills your consciousness. The greater your awareness of the presence of God within you, the more that presence fills your awareness, your consciousness, your thoughts, your ideology, your concepts, your imagination, your visioning. The more aware you become of the presence of God within you. Why is this so important? Because most of us are taught from a very early age that God is somehow separate from us. That we pray to God, we look to God, something outside of ourselves, and we are waiting for God to come. I'm just waiting. Come by here, dear Lord. Come by here. Lord have mercy. You can tell I grew up in church. Y'all did too. So don't act like you don't know those songs. And how ridiculous does it sound that we are asking God to come where it already is? Where can God come to? God is everywhere. There is no place God is not. And yet we ignorantly have been taught or given this idea that God is, there are some places that God is not, but if we beckon him, he'll show up in those places. Stop by if you don't stay long, Lord. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh. And so that kind of mindset, those ideas, those beliefs that have been handed to us have formulated an idea, a set of expectations where we are concerned, and has essentially crippled us. So we don't really think of God as being present in us, through us, and as us. We don't think of ourselves as being the divine in three-dimensional form. We don't think of ourselves as being the image and the likeness of God and what all of that mean as being a divine spirit. We think of ourselves as poor, pitiful pilgrims passing through, trying to make heaven our home, and that we're going to be sometime up, sometime down. When I get through toiling down here, out in the sunshine and out in the rain, long as I know I got a seed in the kingdom, that's all right. Lord have mercy. I'm like, just all of the disempowering, defeatist songs and ideas and quotes and idioms that we have been taught that have become our truth. And so having to reverse all of that means that we have to have our mind renewed and become more aware of the presence of God, not outside of me, but in me, through me, and as me. And the more aware I become of that in all the different facets of my life, the more that presence now begins to shine in those areas. It begins to fill in those parts of our consciousness. That presence is always there, but we are unconsciously aware of it. And so because we are unconscious, or we are unaware of its presence there, then we don't access it. And we don't certainly put a demand on it with any expectation, because we've been taught that we are a wretch in the muck and the mire. Lord, help us right now. So we're going to eradicate that. This law eradicates it, and we're going to talk about that more in detail as well. Law number 3. Oh, and look, if I'm moving too quick, if you haven't had time to write these down, tell me, and I'll go back to any one of them that I need to, because I want to make sure you get them written down and you've had time to kind of think over them, meditate on them as we prepare to teach them. Here is number 3. The deeper your understanding of spirit as the source, the deeper your understanding of spirit as the source, substance, and activity of your supply, the more permanently that truth will be etched into your consciousness. This almost piggybacks on the second law. The deeper your understanding of spirit as the source, the substance, and the activity of your supply. Boy, this is going to be a good conversation right here, because we have been trained and taught by culture, environment, but more specifically by religion, that all of these things outside of ourselves are the source of our supply, when in fact, it is the Spirit of God within us that is the source, it is the substance, it is the activity of our supply. It is the Spirit that is the source, and from within we create resources. Are you hearing what I'm saying? We have been calling resources sources and ignoring the true source, I said sauce, the true source that is within us. That money is not my source, that a job is not my source, that a relationship is not my source, that a particular man, specifically a bishop, apostle, prophet, teacher, preacher, is not my source, but that my source is within me, and I have not only the right, but the authority to create resources, and that lack is an illusionary thing that I have embraced as my truth, and I am living in an illusion of not enough and lack, when in fact I have the reality of abundance within me. Woo! There is no lack in God. And you are the divine image, reflection, or animated expression of God. So if there is no lack in God, there is no lack in you. What you are experiencing that you call lack is an illusion of your own creation. Woo, let me say it again. I said there is no lack in God. And if there is no lack in God and you are the divine animated expression of God in three-dimensional form, then there is no lack in you. And what you have been experiencing as lack or want is an illusion of your own creation. Woo! Again, we'll get more detailed into that one. This is the law. The deeper your understanding of spirit as the source, substance, and activity of your supply, the more permanently that truth will be etched in your consciousness, and lack becomes a memory. It disappears. Poof. And it's gone. Man, I'm out of time. Okay, here's number 4. I'm right at the end. Here we go. Here's number 4. This is the last one. It is your spiritual consciousness, your knowledge of the presence of God within you as total and complete fulfillment that interprets itself as every form or experience in the world. Listen to what it says. Write it down, get it in your notes. It is your spiritual consciousness, that is, your knowledge of the presence of God within you as total and complete fulfillment. God in us. Woo! Did you hear that? Christ in me, the hope of glory. God in us, God with us, God as us, is our total and complete fulfillment. I don't have need of anything. That what I want wants me, what I need I already have, that what I seek I have already, it's seeking me, that everything that I need I have. I am all that I need because I am the divine reflection, animated expression of God. And that knowledge then interprets itself as every form of experience in your world. Yes. So your entire perception and therefore perspective begins to shift and elevate. You begin to vibrate at a much higher frequency. You operate in a higher state of consciousness, and you begin to experience heaven in earth. Heaven in earth. When you fully embrace and assent to the idea that you, God, the presence of God within you as your total and complete fulfillment. This is going to be good. I'm telling you, this is going to be outstanding. So, those are the 4 governing laws of divinity. And like I said, we will walk through each of them in one lesson at a time and go into them in great detail. And I think what I'm going to do this time, instead of waiting until I've gotten through all 4 and then doing question and answer, at the end of each one, like when we get into the discussion about the first law, I will leave room for you to ask questions so that we're able to answer all of your questions as you go along. Okay, so even while I am in the midst of the teaching, if you have a question, write your question into the comments and I will address it right in the midst of the teaching. I want you to make sure that you have a good working understanding of each one of these laws. So again, law number 1, Your outer world of form and experience is a reflection of your inner world of thoughts and feelings, as above, so below, as within, so without. Number 2, the greater your awareness of the presence of God within you, the more the presence fills your consciousness. Number 3, the deeper your understanding of spirit as the source, substance, and activity of your supply, the more permanently that truth will be etched into your consciousness. And finally, number 4, it is your spiritual consciousness, that is, your knowledge of the presence of God within you as total and complete fulfillment, that interprets itself as every form or experience in your world. These are the 4 governing laws of divinity. These are the 4 governing laws of divinity. Okay? So Thursday, we'll begin with the very first law. Your outer world of form and experience is a reflection of your inner world of thoughts and feelings. And we will discuss in great detail what the implications of that law is and what the applications of that law is. What are the implications and applications of that law, so that you can begin to use it for you, so you can begin to live your powerful, divine, and brilliant, radiant life. Okay? Are y'all following me? Are you with me tonight? I hope that you are. All right. So with that, then I'm getting ready to sign off. I want each of you to know, oh, this is loud. Let me turn it down. I want each of you to know how much I really appreciate your being a part of the Emerge family. And listen, if you're listening and you'd like to become a part of Emerge, it's very simple to do. All you have to do is shoot me an email to emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com, or you can simply send me an inbox and just write 3 simple words. I want in. That's it. I want in. And the moment that you do that and include your email address, if you're sending it to my inbox, I'm going to send you an email with a information packet that tells you everything about Emerge, all of our vision and what it means to be a partner, what it means to be in covenant relationship with this particular movement. And I guarantee you it's not what you might imagine it to be. It will be a refreshing breath of fresh air for you. I'll send that out to you immediately. And once you've had time to read over it, study it, and consider it, then all you have to do is sign the partnership agreement and send it back to me. And that's it. You have become officially a part of our virtual spiritual community. Emerge is a movement. It is a move. It's more than a ministry. It's a movement. It's an experience. It's a life-changing experience, and we would love to have you to be a part of it. Likewise, also, I put on the screen at the beginning, I'll put it on again now, that if you would like to get notifications, because you don't want to miss any part of the teaching that we're going to be doing right now, this is crucial teaching. I want you to go ahead and sign up for the notifications. You can do so by just simply texting the word Emerge to 833-444-0163. 833-444-0163. Text the word Emerge and you will automatically be signed up. It is absolutely free, doesn't cost you a thing, but what you will get is an alert and a notification whenever we're getting ready to come on live. That way you won't ever miss any of these live sessions when we're coming on the air. Go take a moment and do it right now. Text the word Emerge to 833-444-0163. I am looking forward to having you become a partner with us and to join us every single time that we come together on these live broadcasts. I want to invite you to also to take a moment and visit our website. The web address is on your screen now, www.aimministriesint.org. Please take a moment and go there and browse through the entire website. You'll find a lot of information about this movement there, as well as our gift shop that's called Humanity. You saw the commercial for it at the beginning of the broadcast. We have a lot of different great inspirational apparel that we can offer you there. Please go and take a look at that and read up on us, study about what we're about, learn what this movement is, see if it fits the fabric of your life. We would love to have you do that. Just go to www.aimministriesint, that stands for international, .org, and check out what we have there for you on the website. Now, also, tonight, if you'd like to give, and Lord, I'm encouraging all of you to give, to sow, to be continuously generous, as so many of you have done, then you can take advantage of either of these means for you to be able to sow into this ministry, this movement. You can use your Cashapp or Zelle or PayPal. Either way is fine, and you can sow however you choose. Those who are partners, remind you to return the tithe. Those of you who want, return your tithe. You can tithe to this ministry. You can sow your seed. Or if you want to make an endowment or a one-time gift, you can use either one of those avenues in order to do so. Whatever you give is greatly appreciated. We thank you. We use it to expand and build out this platform. We envision being a movement that will spread across the world and have an impact on all of humanity. So we're encouraging you, and we thank you for those of you who have been faithful in your giving. Now I'm getting ready to go off the air. Thank you again for tuning in. I pray that your evening is absolutely wonderful, and that tomorrow you wake up refreshed, revived, and rejuvenated, and you go out and you make it the best day ever.
Every day we encounter many people without saying a word to them. Imagine being able to share the gift of joy with them, to bring a smile to their face or give them a spark of inspiration. Without saying a word, you can positively impact their life by simply wearing a Humanity. Humanity also offers a unique approach to engage friends in enlightened conversation, all while exhibiting classic style. These shirts have been pre-shrunk to maintain their shape and pigment after washing. You will find this shirt is neither too light nor too heavy for your usual daily activities. Whether you're into casual lounging, active layering, or just want the softest t-shirt against your skin, you'll be pleasantly surprised by this traditional tee. To view our diverse product line, visit our website and click on the Humanity tab. Humanity, the very best in inspirational apparel.